Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
Joining us today on the phone is Patrick Britton-Harr, who is the founder and CEO of a brand new Annapolis-based company that is going to be exhibiting at the boat shows in 2021 called AeroVanti. How are you?
I'm doing well today. I appreciate you taking the time for our phone call.
Well, thank you very much. Now, first of all, I'll just get it out of the way. Not to be confused with Avanti, which is a really nice yacht that is not going to be at the boat show. This is AeroVanti, which will be at the boat show. And I was looking at the map, you've got a prime space right on Compromise Street. Just as you get into the boat show, your tent is right there on the corner.
That is correct. Fortunately, our offices are located in the same parking lot. So it just worked out well to be able to combine our offices at Yacht Basin to collaborate with the Annapolis Boat Show to set up a tent and an event space for exposure to our platform.
Well, what kind of boats do you sell?
Well, we're not in the sales of boats. We're in the process of setting up an aviation company. So the planes that we fly are Piaggio Avantis, and they are an Italian aircraft. They fly at 41,000 feet. They do 400 knots. So you have the biggest cabin space, 6 feet of headroom, 6 feet of width in the bird, and an average flight, call it from Baltimore to Tampa, books out right around 2 hours, 15 minutes, give or take, depending upon the winds. And the model that we have for this is to make private aviation affordable and inclusive at the same time. So what we're doing is we're looking to be able to bring in a new class of customer into this program and platform. If you look at all the other models out there, the cost of chartering aircraft, membership models, there's been a lot of good infrastructure that's been laid the foundation for us. We leveraged that, utilized that, and gave that as the initial structure to the framework of AeroVanti as a whole with our membership model. The idea is to have power in numbers, have a certain amount of members that are a part of a collective group in order to be able to have a reduced flight hour in the market. Currently, right now, average cost for a charter for, call it a turboprop or a light jet, which is what our class is right around $4,000 an hour, give or take. And with our platform, we are able to provide a 50% discount on that cost structure and have it at $19.95 an hour. On top of that, we do not charge for any repositioning or any empty legs, so the member only covers the cost for the actual flight time that they occupy the aircraft, and they get the entire aircraft to themselves. So it's a nice way to be able to bring in a proper family of four, business partners, golf buddies. The plane seats 7 comfortably. So, it's a proper setup to be able to bring into place at a nice cost-efficient rate. And due to all the COVID scenarios that are still applicable, when you go through commercial aviation, you have 270 touch points to get a communicable disease. Whereas if you're flying privately, you only have 20 touch points that could affect you. So it's a way to be conscientious of the current state of the world, to make sure that we keep that as a focal point from infection prevention, as well as trying to make this aviation platform a little bit more inclusive and affordable as well.
That's cool. So you're telling me that the TSA is the source behind all this COVID stuff?
Well, that would be nice to say, right? We like to blame TSA for everything, but no, in reality, we understand the full spectrum of it. But it's just about the more massive individuals that you'd be exposed to.
What is your background in aviation? I mean, did you grow up a pilot? Have you always been in the air?
So, yes and no. For the most part, I grew up in an aviation family. My grandfather's a pilot. He's in the Tennessee Hall of Fame for aviation. He taught over about 500 individuals to fly, was a master of aerobatics. My uncles are pilots. My father's a pilot. Currently, my father is my chief pilot for AeroVanti. He was a Navy guy who was a P3 pilot. He was a commander in the Navy. He was the captain of his aircraft. He then did 35 years in the airlines with American Airlines as a captain, flying on multiple different aircrafts, all the way from the F-28 back in the original days of Piedmont up to the wide-body A330. And then went to instruct for Airbus after retiring for the airlines back in 2017. And I ended up basically pulling him out of retirement to come on board and get the pilot acumen, the business aviation side, and really get a good grasp so that when we're flying our customers and our passengers, we have the best possible crews available. But as far as my development, I am a pilot as well. But I started in healthcare originally. Mobile dentistry, medical laboratories, infection prevention, and then really got into something that I wanted to be a little bit more inviting. I was looking for a change of a demographic as far as what I was doing from a business perspective. And it was the right time, the right setup. And, I purchased the first Piaggio as my personal plane to be able to just have for my family and I to travel comfortable. We have I have 4 brothers, and so we have having access to an aircraft going back and forth between Florida and Maryland just made all that perfect sense. And once we started flying it, the speed, the room, the comfortability, everything about the aircraft just exuded excellence. And it was at that time that we started looking into a business model to see if we couldn't bring more of these aircrafts back into the market and set up a proper structure.
What sets us apart from a typical fractional type of a thing? I mean, obviously it's not a G5 or anything, it's not a Gulfstream jet. I mean, it is a turboprop, right? Or is that the right term?
It is a turboprop, but it flies at jet altitudes and jet speeds. So you're doing, 460 plus miles an hour. For example, the other aircrafts in our class, a King Air being a turboprop, flies at 30,000 feet and maybe doing, call it, 330 miles an hour. With a Cessna Citation 5, you'll have the same amount of passengers. You're still doing the same altitudes, 41, 42, 43,000 feet, but you're flying it again, 400, plus knots, 460, 470 miles an hour on it. And a Phenom 100, the same aspect. So we're really right at the same speeds as the jets, but we're 115 mile an hour faster than all turboprops. The Piaggio Avanti has set the speed record from California to Charleston, South Carolina many years ago, and did it in close to 3-4 hours. Of course, you had a great tailwind, but at the same time, it gives you the aspect of the speed of this plane. It is a well-manufactured aircraft that has a forward wing on it. It's not a canard, but it's an actual wing that helps with additional lift, stall aspects, and things of that nature. There has never been a fatality with an accident on these aircrafts with over 1 million flight hours. And they really are very efficient. It's about having the comfortability combined with the speed in order to make sure that your travel is stress-free.
Well, you had mentioned that you're saving about 50% off as far as a cost goes, from $4,000 an hour to $19.99 an hour. And that is for the plane, right? So, I mean, that's whether I'm flying by myself or whether I've got, a whole crew for the weekend, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And now to cut down these costs, I mean, are you flying specific routes, or is this more like a fractional thing where I can go to whatever airplane or airport I need to go to?
You have the unilateral decision to pick and choose your destination and where you would like to get picked up at. So it is set up for you to be able to contact your concierge director, who will take your flight request. We will then coordinate in order to find the proper schedule that will fit for you. So we'll take the member's request. Say you want to leave at 10 a.m. and you have your departure itinerary, where you'd like to go to, your passengers, etc. So we take all that information, and what we want to do is we want to accommodate your flight request at that schedule. Our company does require a little bit of flexibility as we are a startup. We want to make sure that our members do get the benefit of the flights, but sometimes we have to adjust flight times, by a couple of hours in order to make sure that we can accommodate our members and or for different weather scenarios, things of that nature that become applicable. But a little bit of flexibility is important. But what we do is we take your request, we put it in, we send you an itinerary, you pay for that segment legs accordingly, and you're off and flying.
Well, how does it work? I mean, and obviously you had mentioned going from California to Charleston with a tailwind and some great speed there. But what if your flight ends up taking longer than that? I mean, do you guarantee that leg price, or is it on like a meter?
So you'll get a quote that is set up and established for you, meaning that you will see the actual time that we have set aside for the flight. So, for example, if we book out an average flight that's going to take, 2 hours, you'll have your $4,000 cost for it. Now, if there are additional delays and things of that nature that, are not AeroVanti's responsibility or fault, for example, if we're always diverted around by ATC or weather, you will get billed for the hour that you are on the aircraft. And so most of the time, you get your fees directly in front of you. You see exactly what you're paying for, and there's no additional fees on the back end.
Okay, so then you're basically paying for pretty close to what you're going to pay.
Absolutely, and you're only talking maybe like 6 to 12 minutes from a scenario from that perspective. But we quote it out. That's what we charge the members. The members pay for it at the time of booking, and therefore we press forward accordingly.
Very cool. Well, California to Charleston. I mean, are you flying nationally now?
We are flying nationally. Most of our flight routes are Florida to, call it the Mid-Atlantic, and out to Texas and Chicago area. So kind of keeping along that route. But we do have plenty of members out there on the West Coast. We do have flights on the West Coast, Aspen all the time, Denver, Jackson Hole, Sioux Falls. So we do not limit our ability to cover flights. We just work with our members. Of course, we're not going to be able to accommodate every single flight request, but we do our best to make it happen. So for whatever reason, we don't have an aircraft available out there on the side. What we do is we work with other charter companies in the arena to help identify an aircraft that would be available to accommodate your flight request. So even if you can't get a flight on AeroVanti at AeroVanti's rates, we do have access to the entire network of charters out there that we can most likely find another charter that would be available, obviously at their rates as well.
That's very cool. That's very neat. Well, and I also assume, I talked about, I guess domestic flights, but I'm guessing just because of the Atlantic Ocean that you're not doing any kind of, in the capacity of the plane, you're not going to be doing international.
So the charter operators that we're working with under the certificates have the ability to fly to Bermuda, the 48 states, Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean.
Okay, so you're not going to Europe?
Not at this time, no. We would like to. I think that's a phase 2, phase 3 kind of scenario. Phase 1 is to really beef up our infrastructure to get to 1,200 members under our program here throughout the U.S., operating these Piaggios that we've identified as the proper platform for it.
Fantastic. So who is your customer here? Who is the member for AeroVanti? And the website I just want to point out is aerovanti.com. It's AeroVanti.com. And that has all the information on there. But you're here at the Power Boat Show. I mean, are you looking for boaters, or are you looking for people that have the money to buy a boat that may, because it's a similar customer? I mean, who would benefit from this?
Well, we believe that travelers will benefit from this. So there really isn't one specific demographic that fits the mold better than the others. This is a way to not only have, for example, C-level executives who, in corporations, because we have 3 different levels of programs. We have an individual membership, we have a family membership, and we have a corporate membership. So it's tailored specifically to each setup from that perspective. This is not the singular one-stop shop for all transportation needs. What it is the most cost-efficient in private aviation that would be able to provide that proper care and service and hospitality to the individuals. So what we look at this is that for those individuals that need guaranteed confirmed flights and travel on, confirmed commitments, we offer what we call the Top Gun program. And that Top Gun program allows for that commitment. Essentially what it is, it's a block time purchase of 150 hours that then guarantees the aircraft for that member. So we have a top tier Top Gun program for those, heavy flyers that want to have guaranteed flights, down to the individuals who would like to take trips with that are, golfing buddies, friends and family going down to, say, for example, Key West for the weekend. You put 4 people into the plane, you're down there on your trip and you come back home. It's proper for families who travel with kids and pets. You don't have to worry about taking your pet and, stashing them in the hull of an aircraft. You don't have to worry about your emergency or emotional support or the service animal perspective. Our saying on this is bring your pets with you. We're very pet friendly. We want you to bring them along. We feel that our dogs are a part of our family and so forth. And so it's really a better way to travel instead of having to go through the hassle of TSA and commercial aviation. Now, we're not saying that we're going to be able to accommodate every flight request, but once you get a confirmed itinerary, you have the tail number for your aircraft, barring any mechanical or any other, severe issue, your flight is set and you're moving forward. So it's a nice way to start your weekend trip. It's a nice way to travel if you're a businessman. And if you're a corporation, it gives you the ability to send the aircraft out for all business partners, employees, and associates accordingly.
It's funny. I'm just, as you were talking about that, I was doing the math on this. And I'm just trying to think like from here to Florida or Palm Beach or something like that. And I don't know what the cost to land there and stuff is like that. But, we're looking at it probably a little over 2 hours probably with that or something like that. So you're looking at $4,500 for the plane. And if you got 7 people, that's only $640 a person.
Correct.
Which is obviously more than Spirit Airlines, which we would expect. But that's not that expensive when you think about that. For what you're getting. You drive up into private aviation, you park your car, you get on this plane, you bring Fido. I don't know, maybe Fido counts as a passenger. I don't know how that works. But, you get in the plane and you're off with your own crew and your own posse in perhaps faster time than commercial aviation.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. You're not having to get to the airport an hour, 2 hours in advance. You drive your car straight onto the, tarmac for the most part, pull right into the aircraft. Your luggage is loaded up for you. Your pilots and plane are waiting there for you upon your arrival. And then you get to your destination accordingly. And the best part is that I know a lot of travelers look at these major international airports and utilize that as the basis of where they're going to be traveling to. Well, with us, we can get into a lot of these other local, smaller airports that commercial airliners can't. And that education for our members is letting them know that if you're flying into one of these larger areas, say, for example, Miami, there's alternate airports. You have other executive airports that you can get into. You have other smaller locations that do not charge those heavy landing fees and sometimes are actually closer to your destination. Like, for example, I'm down currently right now in Sarasota, Florida, and you have the options of going to Tampa, to Sarasota, or to Venice. And all those airports will be able to fit with, the smaller ones like Clearwater and St. Pete and Davis Island. You basically get to pick and choose your destination.
That's amazing. And not that expensive. Now, you said it's a membership program. So is there a monthly membership fee or something?
There is. The individual monthly fee is $1,000 per month. The family is $1,500, and a corporate is $2,500 per month. The difference of the level means that an individual, you must be the primary on the flight. So basically, it's a individual or a married couple. Then with a family membership, it's kids, parents, grandparents. And then again, with corporate, you have the unilateral decision to send the aircraft regardless of who's going to be the primary on that plane.
Okay. So, if I ever hit the lottery or something like that and I want to send a plane to pick up a friend of mine or a business associate, I can do that on a corporate level.
That is correct.
This is pretty cool. And it's different because, I've looked at some of the old, the chartering, and that was always so cost prohibitive to get into it and to do it. And this, I mean, I'm going to say this is not Spirit Airlines, it's not Southwest, but it's definitely not, oh my gosh, I need to be a 1%er to do this.
Definitely not.
I'll tell you, it's funny. I had a chance to meet David Nealman one time many years ago. And he had said to me, it was in the midst of his JetBlue days, and he was saying, and I'll paraphrase, he said, the best way to make $1 million in the airline business is start with $3 million. I mean, does that ring true?
That's very interesting that you mentioned that. I actually spoke with David Nealman back in March of this year about my program as well. Your comment is very funny, and that's definitely the standard in the aviation industry. For lack of a better saying, Forrest Gump says shrimping is tough, and that's exactly true. Aviation business is very difficult. I'm sure healthcare is very difficult as well. But what sets us apart from what we have as far as our company and our program is that we come from a long line of aviators and pilots that understand aircrafts as a whole. We come from business development, startup companies, and we have the experience and knowledge in order to make sure that we maximize the efficiencies. So I look at this as coming into a new platform in an industry where we are a disruptor. We are coming in with a 50% cost rate versus all the competitors. We're coming in with an aircraft that, for example, one of our competitors on a King Air, you're going to fly from the same route. We'll do a BWI to PBI. It's going to take you 3+ hours on that King Air, and you're going to pay anywhere between $12,000 to $15,000 for that flight. You're going to be in a 4'8" cabin, and you're going to be doing 330 mile an hour. Versus flying on AeroVanti, where you're in the biggest cabin of any class, which is even bigger than the Cessna Citation 10. It is the biggest cabin where you're comfortable, you have room, but your flight is going to take you 2 hours and change. So you're looking at, 4,000 to 6,000 maximum for your trip, and you're getting down there in 2 hours. So your competition is, an hour behind you, and you're paying more for those services. Whereas we are efficient, we're fast, and we're here to, again, as we mentioned, disrupt the industry and showcase that private aviation doesn't have to be this expensive. We do not, the way that we set up our model is to, again, have power in numbers. The more members we have under our program, the more cost efficient it will be for the members to fly. And that's where we're not contingent upon these aircrafts flying. And so that's the best part about it is that, with these planes that we have and the members, we're not basing it upon the flight hours for the revenue. We are working together as a collective group in order to mitigate all the expenses across the board. So with that member development and being able to keep that cost structure low, fits on everyone's proper platform.
Neat. Well, and you also mentioned being able to get into different airports that are maybe closer and more convenient and everything else. Just to put it in perspective here, okay, we've got 2 local airports. We've got Lee Airport over in Edgewater, and we've got the Bay Bridge Airport over on Kent Island. Are those airports that these planes could land in, or are they too small for those?
So they are right on the edge of it. Lee Airport definitely isn't. Bay Bridge is a little tight, being at a 2,700-foot runway. The plane can land in 3,000 feet, but we set our standards at 4,000 feet to ensure that our pilots have safety capabilities for our members, and that's really what it's about. So BWI is the closest for coming into Annapolis. We have our hangar over in Easton where we keep our planes. We also have a hangar down in Sarasota where we keep our planes there. But for example, another setup would be wanting to fly into New York or JFK, LaGuardia. What we would do is we would put you into white planes instead. So, that way you don't have to pay those heavy landing fees. You're 10, 15 minutes outside the city, getting into Farmingdale as well. Block Island, we can't get into in this aircraft because it's, a small runway. But Nantucket, we can get into all day.
Well, this is really cool. I'll tell you, we are speaking again with Patrick Britton-Harr, who is the founder and CEO of AeroVanti, and it's AeroVanti.com, which is, and I don't want to say it's a fractional jet ownership because it's not. I mean, it's not even a charter company. It's as you said, it's a disruptor. It's something new. in the industry, and you're going to be at the Annapolis Boat Shows, both the Power and the Sailboat Show, October 7th through the 10th, and then again the 14th through the 18th. And you're right there on Compromise Street at the Annapolis Yacht Basin, right?
That is correct.
Are you in a tent out there? Are you going to have a tent out? Are you going to have a plane there? Are you giving out free rides?
Well, that would be great if we could put some floats on this and take you right out of the boat show. But I don't think the FAA would like that too much. We will have a tent that's set up out there. We would love for you guys to stop by, come take a look. We have some of our pilots that will be available to talk about the aircraft. We'll have brochures that give information about us, how the membership model works, and we're here to socialize and to mingle. We'd love for interested parties who may have an interest in private aviation. My brothers and I and my wife, we also have a racing team for sailing, and so we utilize AeroVanti specifically for our travel to get to those events. So this is something that is very applicable for the marine industry and aviation. They go well to each other, and we'd love to be able to show you about our aircraft, tell you a little bit about our program, and enjoy a cocktail with each other.
This is fantastic. I can't wait to see you. I mean, I'm going to be down there on Thursday, and I'll make sure that I stop by and introduce myself to you anyhow, so you can put a voice to or a face to a voice, I guess it is. And, definitely looking at, I'm sitting here thinking, where was this one? Not that I'm rolling in the dough, but again, I'm looking at this math saying, for $4,500, I could take my 3 kids and 3 of their friends down to Florida. And I don't think I could I'd be hard pressed to do that commercially. I would think, to take 7 people down for.
Absolutely. And sitting together as well. So this way you don't have to worry about seating arrangements. You can get your entire team and family onto the aircraft, and you're traveling with only the people that you want. So you don't have to worry about the outside noise that goes along with the commercial travel.
That's true. And if the kids are bad, can we put them back like in baggage hold or something like that? Is that a possibility?
You'll have to talk to the pilots on that side.
What type of crew comes on that? I'm assuming it's just a pilot, and is there a co-pilot?
The plane actually is rated for single pilot, so it can be flown with one pilot only. But we do always have 2 pilots flying when we're taking passengers.
That makes sense. I saw the movie Airplane.
Exactly. And so with our side, we have experienced captains who come from military experience and airline industries that are our left seat guys that come from, thousands of hours, 20, 30,000 hours of flight time. We then have in the right seat, we have our younger pilots that are guys that are just coming out of the military, out of the Navy, the Air Force, who have thousands of hours in King Airs, P3s, F-18s. And we let them sit in the right seat, get the experience in the Piaggio with our experienced captains, not only just from the aviation acumen, but also from the customer service hospitality perspective of how to interact with those individuals. And after about a year of being in the right seat, we move the guys from the right seat into left seat captains and continue with a young core group of highly qualified and trained pilots that get the educational experience of these old timers who have that knowledge and can transpose that to our younger generation in order for this to continue for quite some time.
That's wild. And I'm assuming that you can bring your food and booze onto this as long as you don't be a jackass?
You can bring whatever you would like. As a matter of fact, we also provide catering services as well. So we try to handle this from the very beginning with ground transportation as well. We have a ground transportation hospitality component that will be able to arrange all your transportation to and from your airport, whether you're departing or arriving. We then can handle all the catering aspects, coordinate hotel reservations, and be able to really turn this into a full service perspective. So that way the member can just relax, know that they only have to make one phone call, itinerary request, and it can be handled by a whole member team that's set up for them.
Would you handle like a hotel reservation too?
Absolutely.
So, if I'm looking to book a vacation for my family, or, maybe it's a stay with a sailing crew or whatever it may be, and I'm a member, I can just make a phone call to your concierge and say, hey, I want to go from here to Stuart, Florida, and I want to stay at that hotel out on Hutchinson Island, and hang up the phone and I'm done?
Yes, sir. That's exactly how it goes. You would then get an itinerary from your concierge, and you will then take a look at the quotes, approve them, and we would get that into the booking process accordingly.
Can't ask for any easier to do than that, can you?
Not at all. We're here to be that hospitality organization, and we want to be able to make sure that our customers are happy with the platform. And communication is crucial. We definitely need to make sure that all that is set up properly. And the more that we can communicate to handle the member's expectations, and the more that the member understands the structure that AeroVanti can provide for them, we can tailor this for a proper experience for everyone.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you, Patrick, thank you very much for your time today. And again, you want to stop at the Annapolis Boat Shows, either the Power or the Sailboat, and check them out. They are probably, if you're coming from Eastport, they're probably going to be the first thing you see when you get into the boat shows, right on the right-hand side on Compromise Street, just before you get to the Marriott, which I guess the Annapolis Waterfront Hotel they go by now. And again, the website is aerovanti.com, AEROVANTI.com. And you are an Annapolis-based disruptor of the aviation industry. It's probably not a real good bumper sticker, but...
Yes, sir. So we're looking for you guys to stop on by, come to our tent, take a look at our program, talk with some of our pilots and our team, enjoy a cocktail with us, and hopefully we'll be flying with you guys shortly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you as well.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.